Welcome to the ORF Tooltips video series. The great thing about ORF is its ability to catch spam during email transmission. This also means we have to get a bit intimate with the email transmission process to get a solid understanding of ORF. SMTP, short for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, is an internet standard for electronic mail transmission. Electronic mail servers and other mail transfer agents use SMTP to send and receive mail messages. Now let's see how email delivery actually works through a simple example between Tim at example.org and Jane at vamsoft.com. To start off, Tim submits the email to his own SMTP email server, which accepts and queues the email for delivery. This is also called relaying. A bit later, his mail transfer agent, mail.example.org, starts the delivery by looking up Jane's target host. It uses the domain name system to look up the mail exchanger record, or MX record, for the recipient's domain. This is the part of the email address to the right of the @ sign, vamsoft.com in her case. Then, the mail transfer agent, mail.example.org, connects to mail.vamsoft.com and transmits the email, which ends up in Jane's mailbox with the help of the mail delivery agent. This is usually where the story ends. However, if mail.vamsoft.com decides that Jane does not want Tim's email after all, it may reject the email during transmission. This will cause mail.example.org to generate a bounce report, also known as an NDR or DSN, and return it to Tim. Well, so much for the Friday date. SMTP works in a command response model. The sending party issues a command, and the receiving party either confirms the command or rejects it. After the connection is established, the sender server introduces itself to the recipient server using the hello command. Afterwards, it identifies the sender address in a mail from command and one or more recipient addresses, each one in a separate rcpt2 command. Finally, the email content is transferred in a data command, and the transport is closed using the quit command. The next SMTP conversation transcript demonstrates how a successful and a failed email transmission looks like. The difference is highlighted with blue and red colors. SMTP command responses always begin with a 3-digit number, 250 for example, which determines the status of the command. Response codes beginning with 2 indicate success, while response codes starting with 4 or 5 indicate transient or permanent failure. There are two things worth noting here. The receiving party can choose to accept or reject a command. When an email is accepted, it is queued for delivery by the recipient server. Rejection at the final stage of the email transport cancels the transmission process. See the line marked with red. The email will not be delivered, and the sender server will notify the actual sender by generating a bounce report. Another thing to mention, the sender and the recipient addresses are specified twice. Firstly, in the mail from and the rcpt2 commands, called the envelope addresses. Then, in the email header, called the MIME addresses. And while email servers rely on the envelope addresses for delivery, and ORF will also use the envelope addresses for its email address-based tests, email clients like Outlook display the MIME addresses. Spammers, on the other hand, tend to use different envelope and MIME addresses to confuse the recipients, which might be familiar if you've ever had users complaining about spam from themselves. So keep this in mind when investigating email delivery and spam issues. And now that we have a solid background on email delivery basics, we can continue by looking at how ORF comes into the picture. Thank you for your attention. Be sure to check our website for product info and downloads, and also our dedicated blog, VamSoft Insider.